Thank you. This may be the most important speech I've ever made. I want to provide an update on our ongoing efforts to expose the tremendous voter fraud and irregularities which took place during the ridiculously long November 3rd elections. We used to have what was called Election Day. Now we have election days, weeks and months, and lots of bad things happened during this ridiculous period of time, especially when you have to prove almost nothing to exercise our greatest privilege, the right to vote. As president, I have no higher duty than to defend the laws and the Constitution of the United States. That is why I am determined to protect our election system, which is now under coordinated assault and siege. For months leading up to the presidential election, we were warned that we should not declare a premature victory. We were told repeatedly that it would take weeks, if not months, to determine the winner, to count the absentee ballots, and to verify the results. My opponent was told to stay away from the election. Don't campaign. We don't need you. We've got it. This election is done. In fact, they were acting like they already knew what the outcome was going to be. They had it covered, and perhaps they did, very sadly for our country. It was all very, very strange. Within days after the election, we witnessed an orchestrated effort to anoint a winner, even while many key states were still being counted. The constitutional process must be allowed to continue. We are going to defend the honesty of the vote by ensuring that every legal ballot is counted and that no illegal ballot is counted. This is not just about honoring the votes of 74 million Americans who voted for me. It's about ensuring that Americans can have faith in this election and in all future elections. Today, I will detail some of the shocking irregularities, abuses, and fraud that have been revealed in recent weeks. But before laying out just a small portion of the evidence we have uncovered, and we have so much evidence, I want to explain the corrupt mail-in balloting scheme that Democrats systematically put into place that allowed voting to be altered, especially in swing states, which they had to win. They just didn't know that it was going to be that tough because we were leading in every swing state by so much, far greater than they ever thought possible. While it has long been understood that the Democrat political machine engages in voter fraud from Detroit to Philadelphia to Milwaukee, Atlanta, so many other places. What changed this year was the Democrat Party's relentless push to print and mail out tens of millions of ballots sent to unknown recipients with virtually no safeguards of any kind. This allowed fraud and abuse to occur on a scale never seen before. Using the pandemic as a pretext, Democrat politicians and judges drastically changed election procedures just months and in some cases weeks before the election on the 3rd of November. Very rarely were legislatures involved, and constitutionally they had to be involved. But very, very rarely, and you'll see that as we continue to file our suits, it's constitutionally absolutely incorrect what took place, even from a legal standpoint. Many states, such as Nevada and California, sent millions of live ballots to every person on their voter rolls, whether those individuals had requested ballots or not, whether they were dead or alive. They got ballots. Other states, such as Minnesota, Michigan, and Wisconsin, instituted universal absentee balloting right in the middle of an election year, sending absentee ballot request forms to all voters on all rolls. It didn't matter who they were. This colossal expansion of mail-in voting opened the floodgates to massive fraud. It's a widely known fact that the voting rolls are packed with people who are not lawfully eligible to vote, including those who are deceased, have moved out of their state and even are non-citizens of our country. Beyond this, the records are riddled with errors, wrong addresses, duplicate entries, and many other issues. This is not disputed. It has never been disputed. Dozens of counties in the key swing states have more registered voters on the rolls than they have voting age citizens, including 67 counties in Michigan. All of this is evidence. In Wisconsin, the state's Board of Elections could not confirm the residency of more than 100,000 people, but repeatedly refused to remove those names from its voter rolls before the election. They knew why, nobody else did. I knew why. They're illegal voters. It is a travesty that in the year 2020, we do not have any means of verifying the eligibility of those who cast ballots in an election, and such an important election it is, or determining who they are, whether they live in the state, or whether they are even American citizens. We have no idea. We have in all swing states major infractions or outright fraud, which is far more in numbers or votes than we need to overturn the results of a state. In other words, in Wisconsin, as an example, where we were way up on election night, they ultimately had us miraculously losing by 20,000 votes. And I can show you right here that Wisconsin, we're leading by a lot. And then at 3:42 in the morning, there was this. It was a massive dump of votes. Mostly Biden, almost all Biden. And to this day, everyone's trying to figure out, where did it come from? But I went from leading by a lot to losing by a little. And that's right here. That's at 3:42 in the morning. That's Wisconsin. A terrible thing. Terrible, terrible thing. But we will have far more, many times more, than the 20,000 votes needed to overturn the state. If we are right about the fraud, Joe Biden can't be president. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of votes. We're talking about numbers like nobody has ever seen before. Just as an example, in certain states, we'll be down by, let's say, 7,000 votes. But we'll find later on 20,000, 50,000, 100,000, 200,000 discrepancies or fraudulent votes. And that includes votes that went through when they were not allowed to be seen by Republican poll watchers because the poll watchers were locked out of the building. Or people that innocently came to vote on November 3rd, who were all excited about their vote. They were happy. They were proud to be citizens of the United States of America. And they went up and they said, I'd like to vote. And they were told that they can't vote. I'm sorry, they were told. I'm sorry. You've already voted by mail-in ballot. Congratulations. We received a ballot, so you can no longer vote. They didn't know what to do. They had no one to complain to. Most just left and said, that's strange. But many people complained and complained vehemently. And in a lot of cases, they filled out a provisional ballot, which was almost never used, but in virtually every case was a vote for Trump. In other words, they went in to vote, and they were told that they voted. And they didn't vote. And they left, and they felt horror. And they lost respect for our system. And this happened tens of thousands of times all over the country. That's how desperate the Democrats were. They would fill out ballots of people, not even knowing if these people were going to show up. And when they did show up, they said, sorry, you've already voted. And on top of everything else, we have a company that's very suspect. Its name is Dominion. With the turn of a dial or the change of a chip, you can press a button for Trump and the vote goes to Biden. What kind of a system is this? We have to go to paper. Maybe it takes longer, but the only secure system is paper. Not these systems that nobody understands, including, in many cases, the people that run them, although unfortunately, I think they understand them far too well. In one Michigan county, as an example, that used Dominion systems, they found that nearly 6,000 votes had been wrongly switched from Trump to Biden. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. This is what we caught. How many didn't we catch? Are there hundreds of other examples throughout the country? Are there thousands? We just got lucky, and they called it a glitch. But we found numerous glitches that evening. 96% of the company's political donations went to Democrats, not surprisingly. And frankly, when you look at who's running the company, who's in charge, who owns it, which we don't know, where are the votes counted, which we think are counted in foreign countries, not in the United States, Dominion is a disaster. Election authorities in Texas have repeatedly blocked the deployment of Dominion systems due to concerns about security vulnerabilities and the potential for errors and outright fraud. Every district that uses Dominion systems must be carefully monitored and carefully investigated, but not only for the future. Right now, we're worried about the present and what went on with an election that we won without question. Under my lead, the Republicans won almost every state house in the United States, which they weren't expected to do. We won up to 16 seats in the House. The numbers are still being tabulated because there are 9 seats that nobody really knows. They don't know. They're still, 2 weeks later, still under consideration because it's a mess. Republicans were supposed to lose many seats, and instead they won those seats in the House. And a very important election that's coming up will determine whether or not we hold the Senate. David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler are 2 tremendous people. Unfortunately, in Georgia, they're using the same horrible Dominion system. And it's already been out that hundreds of thousands, think of it, hundreds of thousands of absentee ballots have been requested. You check it out, who's requesting those ballots. The difference is it's one state and we will have our eyes on it like nobody's ever watched anything before because we have to win those 2 Senate seats. The tremendous success we had in the House of Representatives and the tremendous success we've had so far in the Senate, unexpected success all over the country and right here in Washington. It is statistically impossible that the person, me, that led the charge lost. The greatest pollsters, the real pollsters, not the ones that had us down 17 points in Wisconsin when we actually won, or the ones that had us down 4 or 5 points in Florida and we won by many points, or had us even and down in Texas and we won by a lot. Not those pollsters, but real pollsters, pollsters that are fair and honest, said we can't understand a thing like this. It's never happened before. You led the country to victory, and you were the only one that was lost. It's not possible. The Speaker of the House of a certain state said, sir, I expected to lose my seat. And instead, because of you and because of that incredible charge and all of those rallies, We had a tremendous victory, and everybody knows it. You were much more popular than me, sir, except I got many more votes than you did. And it's impossible that that happened. There is something wrong. I'll tell you what's wrong. Voter fraud. Here's an example. This is Michigan. At 6:31 in the morning, a vote dump of 149,772 votes came in unexpectedly. We were winning by a lot. That batch was received in horror. Nobody knows anything about it. By the way, there's your line. This is one of many. Here's what is normal. And all of a sudden, look at that. This is normal. Normal. Look, even here, normal. And then boom, all of a sudden, I go from winning by a lot to losing a tight race. It's corrupt. Detroit is corrupt. I have a lot of friends in Detroit. They know it. But Detroit is totally corrupt. Look at this. Look at this. That's at 6:31 in the morning. Unexpectedly came in. In the recent recount in Georgia, which means nothing because they don't want to check signatures. And if you're not going to check signatures in Georgia, it doesn't work. But we have a Secretary of State and a governor who made it very difficult to check signatures. Why? You'll have to ask them. But without a signature match or check, it doesn't matter. They found thousands and thousands of votes that were out of whack, all against me. This was during a recount that I didn't even think mattered. They found many thousands of votes, and that recount didn't matter. The one that matters is the one that's going on now. That because of the fact it's so close, they had to, by law, give another recount. But the recount has to be a recount where they check the signatures. Otherwise, they're just checking the same dishonest thing. It won't matter. In this case, the signatures on envelopes are the only thing that is relevant. We will compare the signature on the envelope to the signatures from past elections, and we will find that many thousands of people signed these ballots illegally. The Democrats had this election rigged right from the beginning. They used the pandemic, sometimes referred to as the China virus, where it originated, as an excuse to mail out tens of millions of ballots, which ultimately led to a big part of the fraud, a fraud that the whole world is watching. And there is no one happier right now than China. Many people received 2, 3, and 4 ballots. They were sent to dead people by the thousands. In fact, dead people, and we have many examples, filled out ballots, made applications, and then voted, which is even worse. In other words, dead people went through a process. Some have been dead for 25 years. Millions of votes were cast illegally in the swing states alone. And if that's the case, the results of the individual swing states must be overturned, and overturned immediately. Some people say that's too far out. That's too harsh. Well, does that mean we take a president, and we've just elected a president where the votes were fraudulent? No, it means you have to turn over the election. And everybody knows, without going much further, and they've seen the evidence, but they don't want to talk about it, what a disaster this election was. A total catastrophe. But we're going to show it, and hopefully the courts, in particular, the Supreme Court of the United States, will see it. And respectfully, hopefully they will do what's right for our country. Because our country cannot live with this kind of an election. We could say, let's go on to the next one. But no, we have to look also at our past. We can't let this happen. Maybe you'll have a revote, but I don't think that's appropriate. When those votes are corrupt, when they're irregular, when they get caught, They're terminated, and I very easily win. In all states, I very easily win these swing states, just like I won them at 10 o'clock in the evening of the election. So we're not looking to show you 25 faulty or fraudulent votes, which don't mean anything because it doesn't overturn the state, or 50 or 100. We're showing you hundreds of thousands, far more than we need, far more than the margin, far more than the law requires. We can show many times what is necessary to win the state. The media knows this, but they don't want to report it. In fact, they outright refuse to even cover it because they know the result if they do. Even what I'm saying now will be demeaned and disparaged, but that's okay. I just keep on going forward because I'm representing 74 million people, and in fact, I'm also representing all of the people that didn't vote for me. The mail-in voting scam is the latest part of their 4-year effort to overturn the results of the 2016 election, and it's been like living in hell. Our opponents have proven many times, again and again, that they will say and do anything to get back into power. The corrupt forces who are registering dead voters and stuffing ballot boxes are the same people who have perpetrated one phony and fraudulent hoax after another. You've been watching it now for 4 years. These entrenched interests oppose our movement because we put America first. They don't put America first. And we're returning power to you, the American people. They don't want America first. They only want power for themselves. They want to make money. That's why they don't want me as your president. I've been investigated from soon after I announced I was running for president, when I immediately went to #1 in the Republican primary polls. The investigations never stopped. They went on for 4 years. And I won them all. I beat them all. Russia, Russia, Russia. The impeachment hoax, and so much more. Robert Mueller spent $48 million of taxpayer money investigating me for 2.5 years, issued over 2,800 subpoenas, executed nearly 500 search warrants, issued 230 orders for communications records, and conducted 500 witness interviews, all looking to take me down. There was no collusion in the end, none whatsoever. Senator Marco Rubio, the head of the Senate Intelligence Committee, stated the committee found no evidence that then-candidate Donald Trump or his campaign colluded with the Russian government. And I thank Senator Rubio for that statement. Now I hear that these same people that failed to get me in Washington have sent every piece of information to New York so that they can try to get me there. It's all been gone over and over again. For $48 million, you go through tax returns, you go through everything. The New York Attorney General, who recently ran for office, campaigned without knowing me, stating, "We will join with law enforcement and other attorneys general across this nation in removing this president from office." I never met her. "It's important that everybody understand," she said, "that the days of Donald Trump are coming to an end. And all it's been is a big investigation in Washington and New York and any place else that can investigate, because that's what they want to do. They want to take not me, but us down. And we can never let them do that. Everything's been looked at. A friend of mine who's very smart said, "You've probably seen more than anybody else. You've probably been investigated more than anybody else. And for you to come out with a clean bill of health makes you probably the cleanest person in this country." Some people in this administration, but fortunately not all, have been beaten down and disparaged. They just disappeared. Nobody knows what happened to them. Why aren't they active? Why aren't they involved? There's so much to be involved in. The corruption is so rampant. They just couldn't take it anymore. They were threatened by Democrats with impeachment, and horrible things were said about them, and they're good people. Even recently, the head of the GSA was hounded and harassed, as she reported, like she has never been before. What can I say? We caught Comey cold. We caught McCabe cold. We caught them all. We're still waiting for a report from a man named Durham, who I have never spoken to and I have never met. They can go after me before the election as much as they want. But unfortunately, Mr. Durham didn't want to go after these people or have anything to do with going after them before the election. So who knows if he is ever going to even do a report. But if you look at the lies and the leaks and the illegal acts and behavior done by so many people in their desire to hurt the President of the United States, something should happen. The hardest thing I have to do is explain why nothing is happening with all of these people that got caught spying on my campaign. It's never happened before, and it should never happen again to a president of the United States. All you have to do is watch the hearings and see for yourself. The evidence is overwhelming. The fraud that we've collected in recent weeks is overwhelming, having to do with our election. Everyone is saying, wow, the evidence is overwhelming when they get to see it. But really, it's too late to change the course of an election. It's too late to change the outcome. In fact, there is still plenty of time to certify the correct winner of the election. And that's what we're fighting to do. But no matter when it happens, when they see fraud, when they see false votes, and when those votes number far more than is necessary, you can't let another person steal that election from you. All over the country, people are together in holding up signs, "Stop the Steal." To understand how we will challenge this fraud, it is important to know the problems with mail-in balloting. Pennsylvania, Michigan, Nevada, Georgia, Arizona, and most other states allowed anyone to get an absentee ballot and cast their vote without showing any ID. The voting took place entirely on the honor system. No identification of any kind was required. Most Americans would also be shocked to learn that no state in the country verifies United States citizenship as a condition for voting in federal elections. This is a national disgrace. No other advanced country conducts elections this way. Many European countries have instituted major restrictions on mail-in voting specifically because they recognize the nearly unlimited potential for fraud. Out of 42 European nations, all but 2 prohibit absentee ballots entirely for people who reside inside the country, or else they require those who need absentee ballots to show a very, very powerful ID. Throughout the Democrat effort to dramatically expand mail-in voting, the Democrat Party leaders were also feverishly working to block measures designed to protect against fraud, such as signature verification, residency verification, or voter ID, and citizenship confirmation was almost unthought of that we should ask for it. Can you believe this? These are not the actions of people who want fair elections. These are the actions of people who want to steal elections, who are willing to create fraud. The only conceivable reason why you would block common sense measures to verify legal eligibility for voting is you are trying to encourage, enable, solicit, or carry out fraud. It is important for Americans to understand that these destructive changes to our election laws were not a necessary response to the pandemic. The pandemic simply gave the Democrats an excuse to do what they have been trying to do for many, many years. In fact, the very first bill that House Democrats introduced when Nancy Pelosi became Speaker was an attempt to mandate universal mail-in voting and eliminate measures such as voter ID, which is so necessary. Dramatically eroding the integrity of our elections was the Democrats' #1 priority for a simple reason. They wanted to steal the 2020 presidential election. All of the Democrat efforts to expand mail-in balloting laid the groundwork for the systematic and pervasive fraud that occurred in this election. In Pennsylvania, large amounts of mail-in and absentee ballots were processed illegally and in secret in Philadelphia and Allegheny counties without our observers present. They were not allowed to be present. In fact, they weren't even allowed in the same room. They were thrown out of the building, and they looked from outside in, but they had no way of even seeing because there were no windows, and the windows that were there were boarded up. Democrats even went to the Pennsylvania Supreme Court to block observers from receiving access. There is only one possible reason that the corrupt Democrat political machine would oppose transparency during the vote counting. It's because they know they are hiding illegal activity. It's very simple. This is an egregious, inexcusable, and irreversible harm that stains the entire election. Yet this unprecedented practice of excluding our observers, our vote watchers, as some people call them, occurred in Democrat-run cities and key states all across the nation. Here are just some of the additional facts that we've uncovered. Many voters all across Pennsylvania received 2 ballots in the mail, and many others received mail-in ballots for which they never applied. So many got ballots, they didn't even know what they were for. And again, so many received more than 1 ballot, in some cases more than 2 ballots. And they happened to be, for the most part, Democrats. In Fayette County, Pennsylvania, multiple voters received ballots that were already filled out. They didn't know what happened. In Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, a poll watcher overheard unregistered voters being told to return later to try to vote under a different name. Tens of thousands of voters across Pennsylvania were treated differently based on whether they were Republicans or Democrats. Voters who submitted flawed ballots in some Democrat precincts were notified and asked to fix their ballots, while Republican precincts, and in particular Republican voters, were not so notified, which plainly violates the Equal Protection Clause of the United States Constitution. If you are a Democrat, we're going to fix up your ballot, make sure it's perfect. If you are a Republican, don't even talk about it. In Michigan, a career employee of the city of Detroit witnessed city workers coaching voters to vote straight Democrat while accompanying them to watch who they were voting for, violating the law and the sanctity of the secret ballot. You can't do that. The same worker says she was instructed not to ask for any ID and not to attempt to validate any signatures. She was also told to illegally backdate ballots, many, many ballots, received after the deadline. This is something that is so unconstitutional. And she estimates that thousands and thousands of ballots were improperly backdated by her and many others. Other witnesses in Detroit also saw election officials counting batches of the same ballots many times, as well as illegally duplicating ballots. One observer testified to seeing boxes and boxes of ballots, all bearing the same signature. Another observer in Detroit gave sworn testimony that he saw countless invalid ballots that did not belong to properly registered voters, and then witnessed election workers in Wayne County entering fake birth dates into the system in order to illegally count them. Witnesses have signed sworn affidavits. In other words, you go to jail if you lie, testifying that after election officials announced the last absentee votes had been received, a batch of tens of thousands of ballots arrived, many without envelopes, all voting for Democrats. In Wisconsin, a record number of voters were categorized as indefinitely confined, a status reserved for severely disabled individuals, also for the elderly, that allow them to vote without showing ID. Last year, approximately 70,000 people claimed this status statewide. This year, the number miraculously was nearly 250,000 voters after election officials in Milwaukee and Dane counties, a couple of the most corrupt political places in our country, urged citizens to improperly register under this status. And register they did in levels that don't exist. In Wisconsin, there are approximately 70,000 absentee ballots that do not have matching ballot applications as required by law. In Georgia, 9 observers have testified to seeing countless irregular ballots without the creases or typical markings indicating that the ballots did not arrive in envelopes as required. A poll watcher in Fulton County estimated that approximately 98% of the large number of unusually pristine ballots that she witnessed were for Biden, a highly unusual number. In addition, thousands of uncounted ballots were discovered in Floyd, Fayette, and Walton counties weeks after the election. And these ballots were mostly from Trump voters. They weren't counted. They were from Trump voters. In Detroit, everybody saw the tremendous conflict and the horrible way that the 2 Republican canvassers were treated, so horribly, because they wouldn't vote when they saw that 71% of the precincts didn't balance. And also, there were more votes than there were voters. Think of that. You had more votes than you had voters. That's an easy one to figure. And it's by the thousands. In Arizona, in-person voters whose ballots produced error messages from tabulation machines were told to press a button that resulted in their votes not being counted. Also in Arizona, the Attorney General announced that mail-in ballots had been stolen from mailboxes and hidden under a rock. In Clark County, Nevada, where most of the state's voters reside, the standards for matching a signature using the signature verification machine were intentionally lowered to allow large numbers of ballots to be counted that otherwise would never have passed muster. This machine was set at the lowest level. According to one report, in order to test the process, 9 voters in Clark County cast ballots with intentionally incorrect signatures, and 8 of the 9 ballots were accepted and counted. They said you could sign your name as Santa Claus, and it would be accepted. Last week, the Clark County Commission threw out the results of a local election after the registrar reported finding, quote, discrepancies that we can't explain. Also in Nevada, some voters were entered into a raffle for more than a dozen gift cards worth as much as $250 if they could prove they had voted. This took place on Indian reservations. One of the most significant indications of widespread fraud is the extraordinarily low rejection rates for mail-in ballots in many key states. These are the states that I had to win. In swing state after swing state, the number of ballots rejected has been dramatically lower than what would have been expected based on prior experience. That means years and years of voting. In Georgia, just 0.2%, that's substantially less than 1%, of mail-in ballots have been rejected. In other words, almost none have been rejected. They took everything. Nothing was rejected practically, compared to 6.4% in 2016. And there are those that think that 6.4 was a low number. So think of it. Almost none were rejected. And the previous election, 6.4% were rejected. We have seen similar declines in Pennsylvania, Nevada, and Michigan. Ballots weren't rejected, especially if they happen to be in Democrat areas. These irregularities are inexplicable unless there is a deliberate effort to accept ineligible ballots or fraudulent ballots. In Pennsylvania, the Secretary of State and the state Supreme Court, in essence, abolished signature verification requirements just weeks prior to the election in violation of state law. You're not allowed to do that. It has to be approved by the legislature. A judge can't do it. A state can't do it. An official can't do it. The only one that can do it is the legislature. The reason for this is clear. They were not verifying signatures because they know the ballots have not been filled out by the voters in whose names they were cast. In other words, people filled them out that had nothing to do with the names on the ballot. A simple recount of the ballots under these circumstances only compounds the fraud. The only way to determine whether there was an honest vote is to conduct a full review of the envelopes in the relevant states. You will find that many of them, tens of thousands, have fraudulent signatures. A full forensic audit is required to ensure that only legal ballots from lawfully registered voters that were properly cast are included in the final count. This election is about great voter fraud, fraud that has never been seen like this before. It's about poll watchers who were not allowed to watch. So illegal. It's about ballots that poured in, and nobody but a few knew where they came from, but they were counted, and they weren't for me. It's about big leads on election night, tremendous leads, leads where I was being congratulated for a decisive, easy victory, and all of a sudden, by morning or a couple of days later, those leads rapidly evaporated. It's about numbers of ballots that were sent that nobody knew where they came from. It's about machinery that was defective, machinery that was stopped during certain parts of the evening, miraculously to open with more votes. It was about many other things, but above all, it was about fraud. This election was rigged. Everybody knows it. I don't mind if I lose an election, but I want to lose an election fair and square. What I don't want to do is have it stolen from the American people. That's what we're fighting for, and we have no choice to be doing that. We already have the proof, we already have the evidence, and it's very clear. Many people in the media and even judges so far have refused to accept it. They know it's true, they know it's there, they know who won the election, but they refuse to say, you're right. Our country needs somebody to say you're right. Ultimately, I am prepared to accept any accurate election result, and I hope that Joe Biden is as well. But we already have the proof. We already have tens of thousands of ballots more than we need to overturn all of these states that we're talking about. This is an election for the highest office in the greatest country in the history of the world. Every reasonable American should be able to agree, based on what we have already documented, that we need a systematic analysis of the mail-in ballots to review the envelopes. It's about the signature. And if they're on the envelopes, we can only review the envelopes, and that will tell us everything. This is the absolute minimum we should expect. This is not just about my campaign, although it has a lot to do with who's going to be your next president. This is about restoring faith and confidence in American elections. This is about our democracy and the sacred rights that generations of Americans have fought, bled, and died to secure. Nothing is more urgent or more important. The only ballots that should count in this election are those cast by eligible voters who are citizens of our country, residents of the states in which they voted, and who cast their ballots in a lawful manner before the legal deadline. Moreover, we must never again have an election in which there is not a reliable and transparent system to verify the eligibility, identity, and residency of every single person who casts a ballot, a very, very cherished ballot. Many very smart people have congratulated me on all we've done. The biggest tax cuts in history, regulation cuts, the biggest in history. We rebuilt our military. We took care of our vets like never before. Space Force, and so much more. But then they went on to say, as big and as important as these events were, the single greatest achievement in your presidency will be exactly what you're doing right now, voter integrity for our nation. It's more important than any of the things that we discussed. If we don't root out the fraud, the tremendous and horrible fraud that's taken place in our 2020 election, we don't have a country anymore. So with the resolve and support of the American people, we will restore honesty and integrity to our elections, and we will restore trust in our system of government. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
Whoa. So that was put out about 7 hours ago to social media only. And I don't know. Who cares if he's on a green screen or whatever? Somebody in the comments section was saying, he's on a green screen. Okay. Yeah, that was from Facebook. Wow. Trump goes yard. Now, I've got questions. What's with the dumps? Oh, can't do that. What's with the late night dumps? And them all going to Biden. Crazy. This is the strangest. I told you, November 3rd was going to be the longest month ever. This one election day, it's going to be the longest month ever. Dr. Hirji in my neighborhood has made it illegal to dine with anyone that doesn't live with you. He's not even an elected official. Spoke to this guy today. Michael Johns dropped bombs. Some would say truth bombs. And he is the leader, the co-founder of the movement, on the Tea Party movement. And we got on about election results, and man, he's been doing a lot of media lately. I had him on for about an hour and a half. Check out the action on this tweet. I thought he had 400 earlier, but he retweets my. This is the difference in followers. I've got 10,000. He's got 250,000. I tweet out the full conversation. I get like 5 retweets. He gets 300. Solid conversation with Michael Johns today. And I had a good one on the weekend with Eric Matheny and his crew. Bob and Eric Save America. What's up with this dude's eyes? Check out this guy's. I'm sure it's CGI, but it's still kind of fun, eh? Anyways, go check out my interview with Michael Johns today. I think it was solid. I haven't. I got a fruit. What the hell? How I got fruit flies this time of year? So check out my conversation with Michael Johns and Matheny. If you go to Matheny's wall, it should be up there on the, he's got it pinned to the top of his, what's it called? I can find it for you. Only because my mentions are going like crazy. So this is Matheny. He retweeted it today. Again, this is just... Maybe it comes in right where I'm in. Rampage, Bob is co-host. Rampage made some good points, man. He said there should have been federal marshals at every voting. I don't get the dumps, why they came in late and why they're all for Biden. I don't understand how the down ballot winners like leave out Trump. How does Trump not win in ridings where everyone down ballot from him won? That's weird. You've got Biden beating Clinton and Obama. And I think Trump makes a good point with the rejected ballots. Now, what I'm concerned about, because I think Joe Biden is a feeble old man, and I reject everything that is leftism these days. Does this not undermine his lawsuits? Like, how can you go public with so much of the evidence that you're going to be dragging into court without it undermining your suit? I'm not sure. I don't know, but there's some, man, if you say there's no, the AP put out this, the only thing, I saw this come across my feed today, that he put out an unhinged, completely detached from reality, false claim of voter fraud. Now, I guess fraud is a legal term, but you can safely say there was many irregularities. And why not check them out? Why can you vote by mail? Why just before a federal election that is controlled by the states? This I don't understand. And I talked to Matheny about this. And today on my interview, well, how come I can never remember these fucking guys' names? Who do I have today? Anyway, so with my guest today that I can never remember their names, for 5 minutes, I asked the same question. How can you have a federal election that's controlled by the states? Democratically run states, even where, but these ballots should be printed, distributed, counted, stored, and there should be a chain of custody. You have many chains of custody that are broken in this election. We've seen trucks with Biden signs on them with boxes and boxes and boxes of ballots, and then we get these late night dumps that all go for Biden. We've got problems with Dominion, serious problems with the voting machines. I don't know why they don't even check the signature. What, you can vote in person without ID? I don't get it, man. But most concerning to me is how the states can change the rules of how the election is governed, i.e. mail-in voting, which is bullshit. You show up on voting day in person, just like we do in Canada here. You fill out a paper ballot and it's kept in case there's a problem. We might use machines to tabulate them, but if there's ever a question, you can go back and say, there they are. And I don't get how you can just mail out millions of ballots and then receive millions of ballots without verifying that you know who the ballots are from. You don't tell me there's room for at least irregularities. Oh, come on, man. I'm no partisan. I'm not a huge Trump guy. I mean, I want him to win because I think the left is crazy. I think he's done some good things on policy. I agree with him on lots of the stuff. Yeah, I get he's abrasive and he's bombastic. But man, if you can't look at this and go, this reeks, then you're just blind, in my opinion. I want to stay objective, but this looks filthy. It looks dirty, and it reeks. And you know what they say? If it smells like shit, you don't need to step in it to know. I don't know how this goes, but I summarized today. Why can I not fucking remember this man's name? It's horrible. What is wrong with my brain? Michael Johns. How can he not remember a name like Michael Johns? So I talked to Michael Johns today for an hour and a half. And I summarized his hopelessness is what I think came through. First of all, this guy was as dry as it comes, but really so much experience. He was a Bush senior speechwriter. He's got a lot of experience, and he's been doing massive media. I think he's Chuck Woolery's co-host on a podcast. And we know Chuck's conservative. This guy's been conservative his whole life. I don't get it, man. I don't get how the states changed the rules just prior to the election. And I think I summarized Mr. John's interview or whatever. We had been speaking about the election, and I said, so let me summarize by saying what you think is that the evidence is there and that it will be presented, and the court won't have the political will or the courage to do what they should do. Well, I'm not sure what they do. You can't just say the elections, like, do it again. But I think there is a political roadmap for what happens if 5 states won't certify because of irregularities, or if the Supreme Court comes down and goes, nope, sorry, you guys had 2, 3, 400,000 illegal votes. You can't count them. And if there's any discrepancy or any dispute about the number of electoral votes that any one candidate gets, then what happens if the court sends it to the House? That's at least there's a provision for that if something happens, right? And if the court has the political will and the courage to send it to the House, then Trump will be elected, 1 state, 1 vote. He's got the numbers. Republicans win that. And I hate to see what happens. If Trump is installed... Oh, please, don't even... I'm fantasizing now. If Trump's installed via the court through the House, oh, you'll see fires like you've never seen before. The left will burn America to the ground. You thought that the George Floyd riots were something? You know, that black guy that overdosed after he got... involved with the police officers he resisted arrest for a half an hour, fucking strung out on fentanyl. He was already saying he couldn't breathe before he even got on the ground. They put him in the back of the car. He slipped out the other side. Like he fought the cops for a half an hour. Yeah, and then they burned the cities down. All democratically run cities and states. They set up the autonomous zone, Chaz, in Seattle. If Trump is installed as president through the court via the House, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine. But I don't get the dumps. I don't get how everyone down ballot from Trump wins, but he doesn't in certain ridings and states. I don't get how Biden, a flailing, feeble, fumbling, stumbling, stuttering old man that can't remember what state he's in, beats Clinton and Obama. I don't get why there's been virtually no rejected ballots. I don't understand how or why the Trump campaign keeps coming to the lectern and lecturing media and electorate and population in general and not thinking that it undermines their lawsuits. Like the whole time I was saying, like, everyone's going, oh, no evidence. And the place for evidence is not the media. It's not the lectern. It's court. So I don't know how that doesn't risk everything. The chain of custody, man, those ballots were just like, you got Dominion, questions about the software, and all these mail-in ballots. You know, I think, you know, they should be, if the mail-in ballots are unconstitutional, it's changing the laws, and it definitely is. Then how can you allow them to stand? You got one democratically. And you know what? Trump made a great point today, that the first thing Nancy Pelosi tried to shove through the House was mail-in ballots without ID or signatures or whatever it was. They want to make it easier for them to steal it. And man, I told you, November 3rd is going to be the longest month of the year. The longest month we've ever known. And here it is. What is it? It's 12:08. It's December 3rd. How long was that day? That day was a month long. Wow. So, you know, I'm a 10-time candidate. I've run at every level except the region. I've run for mayor. I've run municipally. I've run provincially. I've run federally. And I've run for a federal leadership candidate for a federal party. So I've done enough to stay interested in Canadian politics, but I cannot look away. The last 4 years I have, well, especially the last 2 years, but the last 4 years, I haven't been able to look away from the States. Well, because you can't get away from it. I'm watching CTV tomorrow at 7 p.m. is normally when I come out to do my show, but I've been riding the coattails of some of these announcements, and you know, when Trudeau speaks or Trump speaks or Biden speaks, I carry it and then I'll come in and rip on them mostly. Carried some regional council meetings. Oh, I'm giving you a nice screen here, eh? What else we got? Oh, video processing. Oh, I know what I got for you. Let's look at some stats. Is this it? Yeah, no. Let me see. I had a good stat thing up here. I was trying to find out what oh, sorry, I shouldn't do this. So you guys are sending me. I'm not respecting your privacy very well, am I, when your private messages to me come up on the screen? Okay, maybe this is it. This is the interactive. Oh, yeah, this is it. The StatsCan has put up an interactive weekly death count board. It was there. Why is it not there now? And let's just play with it a little bit here. As you can see, this is over the last 6 years. These are total deaths by week. And you see the color coding down here. Let me make this bigger for you. I might have to scroll down a little bit. Okay. You got it? You got it? You got it? You got it, kid? Here are the weekly deaths. Total. Both sexes, all ages, Canada. The dotted line is 2020. Look where it is. We're at the lowest weekly death count in 6 years by a long shot during a pandemic. With, you see these numbers here? We have double the infections here. Double. And I've got a different map for that to show you, or a graph. Now, if we do this, and we go 85 and older, it doesn't change all that much. But still, see, our numbers here are maybe 1600 is this line. How was I doing this earlier? Both sexes, 85 and older. Okay, so let's call this... jeez. Being distracted by... you know when you get the itch on your back and it won't go away? What am I, breaking a sweat or something here? All deaths. This is 85 and older. 0 to 44. Okay. If you're under 44 years old, there's almost no chance that you die of this. Here we've got 220 deaths today, let's say. End of September or whatever. 225. 85 and older. Oh, damn. I'm freaking out. I got to get out of here. It's late. Down here, 1,500. See the discrepancy? And then all ages down here, 4,000. Total deaths. Our total weekly deaths are lower than they have been in 6 years by a wide margin. All ages, both sexes in Canada. And then you can go by province as well. Here's Ontario. How about Newfoundland? Whoa. Look at the number though. 140 is the peak. Down here, 75. About PEI. 30. Down here, 15. Let's shut it down. Everyone stay home. Cancel Christmas. CTV reported this week that Santa has COVID. And Christmas is canceled, bitches. Fucking suck it up. My goodness. Anyways, I'll be back tomorrow night, 7 p.m. I'll have that clip from CTV where they put out fake news saying that 99% of the deaths were from old age homes. And then they went and edited their... you've seen everyone circulating that doctor that was reporting, retweeting CTV stats. CTV actually said the wrong stats. Well, I don't know that they're wrong. I haven't done that. It seemed pretty out of whack. So they put out fake news by saying that pretty much there was 166 deaths in Canada outside of LTCs, long-term care centers. CBC apparently debunked that broadcast and that claim. CTV went back and edited the clip so that the reference and the stats were gone. What the hell? Like, seriously, this is how filthy this whole thing has been getting. You think it's filthy in the States with the election? COVID is filthy, man. You're being lied to. The tests are not reliable. The deaths are inflated. The masks are not working, and we're locking down our regional restaurants so that nobody can dine unless they live in the same house. It's absolute tyranny, and I'm not fucking having it. I'm so fucking done. Well, what do? What can I do? Well, I can do this. That's about it. I don't know that I'm changing anyone's minds because it seems to me that most people that I talk to are cemented in their position. You're either for them. Well, I see that 99% of you are for masks because you're wearing them. A filthy... Hey, you know, I had this thought the other day. You know how long the mask on your face is clean for? One breath. or one touch. And then you're starting to breathe bacteria back in. Have you seen the way the masks collapse on your face? That is restricting oxygen flow to your lungs. And I think we're going to look back at this mask human experiment and go, oh, fuck, we didn't think about that. I won't wear one. Filthy. Absolutely filthy. And I see people, I'm the only person I've seen since August when it was mandated. I haven't seen one person out in my travels that is refusing to wear a mask except me. Now, I got enough lung problems. I don't need a fucking a Chinese manufactured piece of garbage on my face to breathe through. Wrong. People are snapping, man. They're jumping off roofs. They're killing themselves. They're going out and getting street drugs and dying of fentanyl overdoses because they're hopeless. I do interviews and hope that bringing some of this stuff to you, world meters. This is the one. I try and bring real simple evidence to you that you've been duped. That's the shirt at True.2 when it comes back up. You've been duped. Okay, let's go. We'll find Canada. Here we go. 12,000 deaths. We go down here to closed cases. Show graph. Where's the stats? Closed cases. Where's the closed cases? Okay, I guess it's just right here. New daily cases. See this? This was April. Zoom it in for you a little bit. Don't forget to get your mattresses. New daily cases. What are we at now? We're at 6. Let's call it 6,000. Okay. During the first wave, when all the deaths came down, we're under 2. Let's call it 2. 6,000 here, 2,000 here. These are new daily cases in Canada. World Meters is my source. New daily deaths. Bingo. This is the first wave. Let's call it 200 deaths. Look at the deaths now. 100. 100 deaths with 3. Now we're at 3 times the infections. And half the deaths. 3 times the infections, half the deaths. Are you getting this? Now, you don't need to be a rocket surgeon to be able to figure. I'm not a statistician. Not very good with the English language either. Statistician? Yeah, I'm not one of those dudes. But you don't need to be able to look at this and go, okay, here's the first wave. Let's call it 2,000 infections. Okay, let's check our deaths. Daily deaths, 10%. Well, yeah, 200 deaths, 2,000 infections, 200 deaths, 6,000 infections. 100 deaths. Do you see where I'm going here? 3 times the infections, 2 to 6,000, half the deaths. You see, yeah, 3 times the infections, 1/2 the deaths. Are you getting it yet? Are you getting it? Please, people. Stop with the fear. I know it's difficult because if you watch news, they had me too early on in this scam-demic. I guess I heard people calling it that. They had me scared. They had me worried that my lungs were going to be ripped open. It's just not happening, man. I'm careful. I don't touch doorknobs. I don't generally go close to people when they're sick. I don't like getting sick. I'm careful about that stuff. I haven't touched doorknobs, common doorknobs, during flu season almost any time, really, to be honest with you. I just don't touch common surfaces anywhere. The bathroom doors, the corner store doors, the railing, the escalator, that rubber band on the escalator. I'm not fucking touching that thing. Ever. And people touch it, I'm like, ew. I wouldn't put my hand near my face right about now after you touch that thing. They're like, what? So I'm careful, but I'm not falling for this. They had me. I wore gloves one time to the grocery store back in March, February or March or something. They had me scared. I wore fucking gloves. Like that's going to help. Oh yeah, I was careful. And my car was down. I had a friend of mine's car. And yeah, she's like, here's the deal. You wear these latex gloves, you go in the store, you take them off before you get back in the car. Smart. Because that's the only way they work. If you're going to wear gloves all over the place, you don't wear them inside of the clean part. But the masks aren't working, dudes. They're not working, or we wouldn't be locked down again. You social distance, keep your space, keep your hands clean, don't touch your face, wash your hands a lot. They don't call me Jim Fannon for nothing. Spent a lifetime creating a reputation for myself as a guy that's very careful, not obsessed, not OCD. Yeah, my knuckles are a little red in the winter because my skin gets dry despite my hemp oil supplementation. I wash them enough, strangely enough. So far, my knuckles are fine. Well, I'm not going out anywhere, so I'm washing my hands a lot less. But I'm careful because I don't like to get sick. Worse than that, I'd hate to give you my cold. The cold sucks. And for me, because of my chronic bronchitis, a cold usually ends up in a really strong case of bronchitis for me. Unless I've got like a puffer in hand, like a medicated puffer, most colds end up with me getting a lung infection or bronchitis or whatever the fuck it is. I've been getting it since I was a kid. So I'm careful. I don't like getting sick. I've never had the flu that I know of, and I've never had a flu shot. And you think I'm lining up for this vaccine? No freaking way. So anyway, we'll be back tomorrow at 7 p.m. EST. I haven't had the gumption to go the last couple of weeks because, well, I've been broadcasting a whole bunch of other times, so I'm going to have that CTV clip, the old clip and the new clip. But keep in mind, it was a mistake, as it turns out. I guess they had their numbers wrong. But they went to air with it, and then everybody jumped on, and they're like, oh, yeah, there's been 166 deaths outside of the LTCs. Well, I guess that wasn't such a smart assumption either, even though it was hand-fed to you by mainstream media. And then the cowards went and edited the video. And I'm going to point to this all tomorrow. I got a lot of videos for you tomorrow. Might have an extra long show tomorrow. Anyway, I usually come out here Thursdays, 7 p.m. EST. Go check out my interview with not Dr. Mustafa Hirji. He looks like a what do you call it? An Arab Ken doll. Did Ken have a beard? And why is this fucking thing so well manicured? Man, that thing's fucking tight. Hair, too. Unelected fucking joker. Go see my interview with Michael Johns. This is him. I had him for an hour and a half. He was dropping bombs. He was great. And look at this. I reviewed the evidence already available. It's widespread, multifaceted, credible, terrifying, and more is coming. It's time to cease the absurdity of denying reality and begin rising to this historic crisis we now confront. I told the Jim Fannon Show today. 544 retweets. He tagged the wrong guy. He put the... Yeah, I appreciate it. 544 retweets. You go to my page, the same video's got 5 retweets. Hey, holy shit, it's got 19,000 viewers, though. Well, that doesn't suck. I didn't see that number. I was like, oh, damn, he didn't put at Jim Fannon. He put at Jim Fannon Show. Damn it. Anyways, I don't use this account all that much. Well, 20,000 viewers. I had him on at, what time did I have him today? 1 p.m. So, yeah, 12 hours almost. Anyways, I thought it was fascinating. The guy's really knowledgeable. Yeah, he's a conservative, but he's very objective, I found him to be. Mind you, I align with him politically as well, so it's easy to get in line, I guess. But I try to remain objective as possible. So if you want to go check this out. And Matheny is the other one, Eric Matheny. I would recommend looking him up. His interview is Bob and Eric Save America. And I'll just show it to you one more time. Here he is, right here. Here's Eric has how many's he got? 150,000. Matheny. Yeah, he's got 138,000. Compared to, look at the difference, eh? Compared to, oh fuck, my mind is just toast. Compared to Michael Johns. Michael Johns, look at the difference. When he tweets, he's tweeting, my video, I'm getting 500 retweets on it. Yeah, he's got 100,000 more followers than Matheny's got, but look at the buy-in, man. This guy gets, it's funny because some of the stuff that he's retweeted for me gets more retweets than it gets likes, which is weird. That's like people are really, look at how well balanced this is. Usually you get way more likes than you get retweets, but his people participate hard. Look at them. They're all even. He gets about as many retweets as he gets likes. Anyways, I find Twitter fascinating, as you probably already have guessed, even with my small following of 3,000 or 10,000 now. Dare I come over and check out what's going on fucking Periscope? Objectivity is very refreshing. If you're talking about me, thank you. Also, my guest Michael Johns I think he was very objective. No, the chart wasn't about mask wearing. Masks are fucking diapers on your face. AlexU123. Never watching again, nor recommending your broadcasts. Didn't discover shit. Didn't discover shit. I'm going to follow you just for the hell of it, you loser. Oh, he's got 4 followers. Christopher Columbus. Never watching again, nor recommending your broadcasts. Hey, didn't discover shit. Eat it. Oh, why did I have to come here? Jim is totally right. Thank you, Gentle Manon MN001. Making illogical conclusions. Oh, this is didn't. Oh, didn't. You got some time on your hands, dude. Yeah, deaths are way down. They are way down. Infections are up 3 times. Deaths are half. Dude, you've got fucking more time than I do. Not interesting. Just have repercussions globally. Dude, you say you're not engaged, but you've made 100 comments on my Periscope feed. What are you, Andy Gill? By the way, Andy, I know you watch every broadcast. Give my love to your wife for me. Well, yeah, give it to me. Give my love to your wife the way you love her. Because you can't, give her love for me the way. Nah, forget it. Andy, I know you're out there because you watch every broadcast. Welcome aboard, buddy. Are they calling for Krebs' head after he said he was the best years ago? What losers? This is interesting. What the you guys have been active on Twitter tonight. So much for free speech in this room. Gentle Mannon MN001. Okay, so this is going back to when Trump was talking. A lot of haters. The left came out here. No, this was not live. This was on tape delay at 1TFJQKQKQ. What the fuck, dude? Does he even have a stage name? Come Salada. Come Salda. 9 followers. 1 like. It's been an interesting. I'm sorry. I haven't found a way to funnel all the comments into one spot so that I can see them all, like from Facebook and D Live and YouTube and all that kind of stuff. I'll figure it out. Or maybe I won't. Maybe the comments just throw me off my game anyway. Too much crazy propaganda. Thank you, Alexiu123. Objectivity is very refreshing. Okay, so we're back down to the... I want to highlight this. I'll just report. Didn't discover shit. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching and engaging. Anyway, how was your night? I'm going to do some what was it? ASMR? ASMR? I'm going to do, hi, honey. How are you? Come on in. Let me get your coat. Man, you look great. How was your day? Can I get you a drink? For those professional women that they want to hear a tape when they come home because they got no one to come home to, they can come home to a Jim Fannon video saying, "Hey, baby, you're looking good. Come on, let me get your coat. Rub your shoulders a little bit. You all right? How was your day?" Woo! Okay, 7 o'clock tomorrow. What do I got tomorrow? Oh, I got a great guest tomorrow at noon. I'm afraid to go to my Facebook page because your stuff is up there. I don't like showing your private messages to me. Who have I got up tomorrow? I got... check it on my phone instead. Yeah, noon tomorrow. I got a new guy that I'm going to have some fun with because he's a brother. His skin color is different than mine, and I'm going to take him to task for it. I live in a very white neighborhood, in a very white region, in a very white province, in a very white country, really. I had one black kid in my class when I was a kid. I think I can remember one black kid in all of my school. What's up, Lydiard? Lydiard Kreitz. What up, Frank? Holy shit. It's been a while, man. I tried to get a little gig together with some local bands, but everyone's too scared to play. I was going to have another session down at Sessions on the River in Fort Erie. We can social distance. You want to wear your gay little mask, and go ahead. We'll have hand washing stations all over the place. You fucking freaks. Yeah, everyone's too scared. Can you believe it? I'm crushed. I'm brokenhearted. that you guys just fall in line with all the propaganda and you're like, oh yeah, I won't see my family for a year. Yeah, sure. I'll have my parents die and never be able to see them and not give them a proper burial. Yeah, no problem. It's all for the greater good. Don't want anybody to get the flu. Fuck me. Joseph J tomorrow. Look him up. It's Joseph. Is this Joseph? It's Jose. Josesph. What the piss, man? Joseph J. I just call him JJ. I call him Joe J. That's his nickname anyways, I think. Joe J comes up tomorrow. He's a broadcaster. He's got a small channel, and I've been hitting Pater lately because I've had some high profile guests, and then just out of the blue, Matheny asked me on his show on Saturday, and he's got a huge following, and that was cool. I came on for about 25 minutes, and I was a guest, and I'm way more comfortable. I shouldn't say I'm more comfortable as a guest. I enjoy it more. It gives you a little bit more freedom, coming out here and doing a monologue. How long have I been talking now? Well, I've been broadcasting for an hour. Speech was 46 minutes. Oh, has it been an hour? Let me see here. Just give me a time. Excuse me. And this is usually this time of night I have a few drinks in me. I'm stone sober tonight. An hour and 31. So, yeah, I've been talking for 45 minutes. Fuck. Great night out, dude. So Joseph J tomorrow, JJ, Joe J. I'm looking forward to this. I was hoping that he was going to actually broadcast at the same time I was. And that was the cool thing about Matheny. Matheny asked me to come on his show, which is called... Oh, I need something to scratch this back. Like 4 fingernails. What was I saying? Matheny asked me to be on his show, what? Oh, who cares? It's late. I gotta get out of here. Oh, yeah. Joseph J tomorrow. Joe J. Noon tomorrow, we're going live. We're going to have fun. And, when Matheny asked me to come on, now his broadcast dropped at 2:30 on Saturday. I was on his show at 11:45. So I said, can I broadcast your Zooming? And I screwed it up. I didn't get the gallery view right. Anyways, it came out all right. The sound's great. It's just I should have had it should have been in 4 screens like I showed you on Eric's earlier. I just didn't click gallery view. It was on speaker view or whatever. So that was kind of whack. But I said, hey, can I broadcast my segment of the Zoom meeting live? He's like, sure. We're not live, because I said, are you live? He goes, and then I figured out that no, he's live to tape, and then he drops at 2:30. So cool enough. I said, so you're going to let me scoop your show, like before you even drop your show, you're going to let me broadcast? And he said, sure. So my little 25-minute or 30-minute segment, I made my own little video of and dropped live at 11:30 or 11:45 till 12:15 or whatever it was. And then his show didn't even drop till 2:30. So I got to scoop him. He let me scoop him. That was pretty fucking cool. And Rampage was great. That's a pretty good video. Not because I'm on it, because Rampage had some really good points. And I'm kind of new to these guys, but the podcast is called Bob and Eric Save America, and I had a lot of fun on it. So tomorrow, I got to do 2 broadcasts tomorrow. I do everything I can to get out of my obligations in broadcasting. I come out here when I get lit up. Sometimes it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I do live broadcasts. I don't do. I don't go live usually that early, but I did do a 3 o'clock in the morning session. I recorded it, and then I might have rebroadcasted or uploaded it later. TrueTube is what you want. TREW. That's where I'm broadcasting from now. TrueTube on YouTube. Everywhere else is socialmediaplatform.com/Jim Fannon. Pretty simple. Speaking of simple, what up, Arabian Ken doll? I don't know why I got him up there. Oh, because I was going here to make a call tonight, and these fucking queers couldn't get their shit together. Their stream went down, and I want my money back. Yeah, this was last night. Yeah, I got 3/4 of the way through Gavin's show tonight, and everything went wrong. The broadcast went down. I got booted. I was on hold. I got booted off my call. I got back and called back. I got back in. I couldn't hear the show, and then I got just fucking hung up on some whatever. I guess everything just broke down. But yeah, I do a few bits. I was coming with a serious bit today, but I've been doing a few bits on Gavin's show as a caller, and it's been fun because, well, I'm hilarious, and he's the funniest man on the planet. Don't compare to that, but I love the way he takes my calls and then, expands on my questions that I put to him. Jared, what up? Thanks for checking it out. Yeah, I feel for you, brother. I had a friend of mine come over the other day, brought me coffee, a friend of mine from church, and he's politically connected in town here. And his grandfather fell and, there was complications. He ended up in the hospital. He was an older guy. And while he was in the hospital, they tested him for COVID and he was negative. And then when he died, the paperwork came back and it was COVID. You believe it? Yeah, I believe it because the numbers are inflated. Why are the numbers inflated? You've been duped. That's why. You're running scared. You're buying into it. You're wearing your masks and it's not helping. We're shutting down businesses. We're ruining people's lives, and nobody seems to give a rat's ass. Your liberties are being ripped from you, and you're thanking the government for doing it. Shake yourself. Please wake up, people. Please wake up. I'm begging you. We've got 3 times the infections since April and half the deaths. This thing is 99.995% survivable. And you're fucking wearing a mask. And you're ignoring your family. And you're canceling Christmas. This is COVID Christmas. And you've been duped. And that's the t-shirt. You've been duped. And so, I don't know. Maybe coming out here and doing these brutal broadcasts and having decent interviews or whatever. Maybe somebody goes, oh shit, I didn't see this. I didn't see this. Where's the world meters? One more time for those in the back. Daily cases, 2,000 in wave 1. Daily cases today, 6,000. That's 3 times the infections. Daily deaths, half. Please wake up, people. You're living in fear. It's not necessary. The masks aren't working. Lockdowns aren't working. And you've been duped. You're smarter than this. It doesn't take a rocket surgeon. I love that, rocket surgeon. You don't have to be a statistician to see that this is just a flu. Weekly deaths over 6 years. The dotted line is this year. This is our peak. This was April. Look at it now. We're below the average weekly deaths of, what's there? What's red? Red is 2017. We're below right now. We're below blue. We're below purple. We're below red. We're below green. Wake up, people. I'm begging you. Go back to work. Open your businesses. Defy. Do not comply. And please stop wearing the mask. It's full of bacteria. And if you think washing a mask, a reusable mask, is going to keep you safe, you're just sadly mistaken, dudes. And you know what it's doing? It's probably giving you a false sense of security when you should be conscious about not touching your face and washing your hands and keeping your distance. You're going, fuck it. I got the mask on. I'm good. Not realizing, somebody tried to make the point to me the other day that the transmission of this disease is mainly through aerosol. Well, come on, man. You're not that stupid. You're not that ignorant. You don't catch the flu or the cold by people sneezing in your face, because that doesn't happen. You get it from people sneezing on shit that you touch, or touching stuff that an infected person touches. Fucking wake up, please. It's 12:47 a.m. EST, December 3rd, 2020. And Justin Trudeau is still the most corrupt politician Canada has ever known. Well, Mulroney did take money. I don't know why I'm still here. I really don't got anything to get up for tomorrow, and my mom's out, so might as well take a hit on this reefer. Nadine, are we friends? This is a public post. I've had I'm sorry, now I'm going to your... I'm just trying to hover over you to see if we're actually... Yeah, we are friends. I picked up a bunch of new friends through the Hugs Over Mask group, and then I did that interview with Mark Wood. He's got a pretty big following in the hospitality set. What is it there? The one about... And I'm padding my stats because, Facebook stopped being an enjoyable environment for me to hang out in because there's so many lefties ripping me on there all the time. And it's weird because I used to be a lefty, but they're not nice. They come hard, and all they do is like just character assassination. But now, since I picked up a bunch of new followers or friends from two like-minded groups, all of a sudden I got women like Nadine that go, I agree with you. So thanks for that. No one wants to be alone. United Hospitality Niagara, that's the group. Sally Dollar did laser Floyd on her fucking ceiling, and I'm tripping balls. What is a laser projector worth, Sally? How much? I'm typing with one finger and smoking with another. Fannon's Finest came in this year as a Blue Moon harvest. I harvested October 31st, exactly under a full moon. I mean, exactly. The exact time that the full moon became full. Took two or three of my big girls down right at I don't know why. I should have let them go for a little bit longer because, well, we ended up having a week of like 70-degree and sunny weather. They would have loved that. Anyways, I didn't grow much, but I did grow. Was harvested under a full moon. Burning quite nicely, I must admit. Anyway, tomorrow, I don't know. I'm going to try and come out at 7 p.m. EST like I normally do on Thursday nights. At noon, I got Joseph J, and he's a black brother. He's a broadcaster. He's a conservative, and I'm gonna torture him a little bit. We're gonna have some fun with it. It looks like he can take a joke, and I'm hilarious, so we should get along fine. Periscope, you got anything else for me? What up, Darkest Star? Deb McCabe, what up? Hello? Squirter? Oh, call me Squirter. Oh, no. Squirrel feeder. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you're Squirter. Where did you get your PhD? The FU University. Anyways, thanks for coming out. I didn't check Twitch. I ignored you. Oh, DFK, GF. COVID harmless. It's not a pandemic. Same as the flu. No problem, dude. As long as you know they had you. You caught on. Inhaler? Later. Yeah, inhaler for my lungs if I get the cold. Well, see, I get some, just when I don't pay attention, I get some action over there I should have been looking at for you. Thank you, JFKGF on, that's on Twitch. Dare I go to DLive? We're on DLive, we're on Twitch, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube. What else do you need? And no, I have not been showing my picture lately. Why bother? I got a face for radio. I actually have some followers on Twitch. DLive, not so much. I just got out there. Oh, I got 5 followers on DLive now. Cool. Hey, somebody just donated lemons. That's fun. Oh, and I got a Peppy frog. Auto Rocks told AOC on Twitter to put me down. Oh yeah, put her down on the list. That might be an old comment. Amazing_music just donated 2 lemons. I don't know what lemons are, but thank you. And Sour D just donated 4 lemons. What do you do with lemons on DLive? Do I cash them in? Do I get to... Hey, I got 81 lemons. Do I get to make lemonade? I don't know what that is. Somebody help me out with my lemons on DLive. What the fuck, man? DLive, what up? You're so generous. Thank you. Twitch, how many guys I got out here? 2 watching. Where does it tell me my followers on Twitch? Do I gotta go to my channel or something? I don't know. I think I've got, well, like any significant number, like 30 or 40 on Twitch is like huge for me because, hello, it's Twitch. I'm not a gamer. Where does it tell me all my subs? Oh, 50 followers. See, that's pretty good. $50 followers on Twitch. I've been on Twitch like 4 months. Maggot built my hot rod on Twitter. I'm up to 10 grand there, even though I lost 200 since the election day. I got him back after doing that Mithini show, and over the last couple weeks, I built it back up. And then on YouTube, I have 2 channels that are still going. We have true.tube, TREW, tube, 2 words, true tube, not true.tube, true tube, TREW. I got 117 subs on that channel, and if I can make it till January, I might keep this channel because I'm on 2 strikes. So you fucking weirdos that are getting me shut down for hate speech for putting up comedy is just ridiculous. And then I also have the Jim Fannon Show page. Excuse me. My throat is screaming. I got 23 subs on that. Upload a video. What do you mean? I got lots of videos there. Yeah, I just put up Max Bernier. I had Max Bernier last week. That was a great interview. Not great because I did it, because Max Bernier is interesting and I like his takes. Mike Anderson is Strange Juice. I interviewed him last week on Thanksgiving, on Thursday. The guy's a fucking legend and no one knows about him. I've been into this guy for like 10 years, music-wise. Calling Lucy, Luci. You got to check it. Strange Juice. He did an interview with a rooster on his lap. He's in Australia. His top video is about 40,000. He's got some solid music. If you look up Strange Juice, House Flies in the Mist, I wonder, you know what? I wonder if I can get away with playing his shit. Oh, I shouldn't try it on this channel. I'm gonna try playing his shit one time when I'm not on YouTube, because I don't want to risk it. But if you go to this channel, you'll see Strange Juice. Just go, forget my interview. It's good if you're into talking to musicians. He's interesting, and he's in Australia, so it's cool, his take on things. He's a driver's ed instructor. He's like Beck. He makes all his own tracks. And he hasn't performed since 2012, and I've convinced him to come out of performance retirement, and he's asked me what songs I would request for him to do live, like a live and unplugged, and then I'm going to carry it. I'm going to broadcast it for him. I don't know if he's got the means to broadcast. He's not much into that, but I'm going to carry it live, and he's going to belt out a few tunes for us. That won't suck. He's my absolute, one of my all-time favorite artists because, well, he does some of my all-time favorite tunes. Like, I can't put him up there with Floyd and Depeche Mode and shit like that. He's kind of like an eccentric offshoot. But you need that music, man. You need the Becks and the Strange Juices. So go check him out. Strange Juice, one word. We haven't talked about where the name Strange Juice comes from in the interview. I had Mike Farkas on last week. He's a witch behind the lens. He does videos. He's got a nice studio here in town. And then I had the live crossover with Bob and Eric Save America. And then I put up Bernie Robichaux too. He's Cyrus from Trailer Park Boys. I threw that up there. Pat Dixon I did a couple months ago. Pat Dixon's a comedian in the States. Man, he got vulnerable talking about breaking up with his wife and all the shit. And he smoked darts. He hacked darts through the whole interview, and he was funny without trying to be. Atheism is Unstoppable was a great conversation. AIU, Atheism is Unstoppable. He was, he's banned from everything. He's on censored.tv. Here he is right here. But a Genesis and going, what? Ooh. Just go back to the screen so you can see it. Yeah, this is him. We call him the kangaroo. He never shows his face either. So that was a decent conversation. That was a few weeks ago. I talked to him. I talked to John Milkey of Milkman Unlimited. You want to talk about a guy that's got a great radio voice? That guy's got that. And I put up Leslyn Lewis. She ran for the conservative leadership. So we've been stacking the Jim Fannon Show YouTube channel with videos. I suggest you go find out what Strange Juice is all about, because the guy's witchcraft. Just gifted. Musically genius, and I don't know. He's just a huge crush of mine. Man crushing like a madman. All right, so Trump goes 46 minutes, and the most important speech I've ever made, he said. I carried it on delay. He put this out 8 hours ago. And he only put it out on social media. I found it on Facebook. Because obviously you can't put something that long on Twitter, I don't think. Maybe you can if you're the president. Who am I kidding? Damn. Baltimore lost tonight. That's great. Man, COVID has ruined my NFL experience. All right. Now what? Oh, it's only 1 o'clock. too late to go to bed early. And it's too early to go to bed late. So I'll just settle for something down the middle. Peace, love, hug your neighbor, and please, for the God, I'm begging you, please, God, wake the fuck up and take that diaper off your face because it's not working.